Sandra Edmond, Queen of Tax Deeds, with your Tip Tuesday. And on my screen here, I've got a picture of a really nice condominium complex. This is a condo which unfortunately the owners lost to a tax deed sale back in January because they did not pay the property taxes. They had completely paid off this condo. They paid it off, so they no longer owed any taxes on it. So this is a fine little example of why it's important to keep your property tax mailing address up to date with the county tax collector's office or property appraiser, because if they don't have the correct address to mail you that your property taxes have not been paid, you will lose it in the auction. So these people lived overseas and they ended up suing everyone involved in this transaction, this tax deed transaction, in the end, because they were so mad that they lost the property at the tax deed sale. They sued the comptroller and they also sued the tax deed buyer. Here's an article here in the Orlando Sentinel about what happened. Here is the title: An Expensive Lesson. Unpaid taxes cost overseas family its Orlando vacation home. This article is written by Stephen Hudak. So if you go down here, we can see a nice little picture of this family. According to the article, and I'm going to read excerpts from the article, the homeowner had relocated to the United Arab Emirates. So the homeowner reportedly sued the comptroller and the winning tax bidder after their vacation home was sold at the Orange County tax deed sale earlier this year. According to the Sentinel's article, Philip King settled the case with the winning bidder and paid the winning bidder back to get his house back. So he ended up buying the house back from the high bidder at the tax deed auction. The article says that this gentleman and his family paid off the house, ironically, in 2017. They paid off the mortgage and no longer had a mortgage. So he's a Saudi businessman, and he told the Sentinel, quote, "The irony is, had I not paid off the mortgage, this would not have happened," end quote. And the reason why that is because the mortgage company had been paying the property taxes. All that was rolled into the mortgage payment. So once the taxes are paid off, it's up to the homeowner now to pay the taxes on his own. And because he was not aware of how property taxes worked, allegedly that's what he told the newspaper. King told the newspaper that they were unaware they were responsible for the property taxes. Now, when I checked the public records, that property had been delinquent for 2 years, for 2018 and 2019, which makes sense because he paid it off in 2017, so he was now responsible to pay the taxes on its own. So, let me see what else here I found out. So, according to the public records, he was 2 years delinquent. And when it sold at the tax deed sale, it sold for $196,400. Okay, $196,400. Pull it up here. So it's a condo. You're like, what kind of condo is that? So this is not far from the attractions, Disney and stuff. It was built in 2008. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it has 2,129 square feet. So it's a pretty big condo. So they used to use that as their vacation rental. They come over to Florida, I think it said here in the article, once a year. So the article goes on to quote King. He said, "I was angry that I had not been given any indication that there were some taxes that were due, and annoyed personally that I had not understood the requirements of updating overseas contact details," end quote. So King, who said from Abu Dhabi, so that's where he's living now, in the United Arab Emirates, where the family relocated a few years ago. Public records of the auction show multiple attempts from the research I had done here that the comptroller did try to notify King, including sending certified mail and also posting legal notice in the newspaper and also having a sheriff's deputy go out and serve. But the problem is the address he had listed in the tax records was the address of the property. So when you own a vacation rental or a second home, you do not have, or investment property, however you're using it, you want to make sure that you have your actual mailing address on there, because if he did, he would have gotten a certified letter letting him know the property was going to auction, or at least they would have mailed it to the United Arab Emirates. They do this all the time. They mail overseas to let people know that the property is coming up in the auction. So what ended up happening? It ended up actually working out for him in a way that he was able to get the property back, because in the end it appears as though, according to the research I've done looking at this tax deed file, that he settled the case. According to the public records, they do have a settlement on file. He settled the case with the tax deed buyer, and according to the settlement, the tax deed buyer is going to receive $174,286.36 plus an additional $78,203.64 for a total of $252,500, rough estimate. That's what they're going to get so that they can deed the property back to the King family. Now, according to the tax deed file, the King family, through their attorney, it appears as though they have applied for the overage or will be turning over that overage money to the tax deed buyer as part of their payment to get the property back. So they went into the overage, the surplus money from the sale, to try to pay off that tax deed buyer. So the property's opening bid, I believe, was about $19,000. Let me double check here. I believe it was $19,000. Yeah, my opening bid was $19,000, about $20,000, and he ended up going and getting the overage, and it was about $174, $177 left in overage. So they're using the overage money plus an additional $78 to pay off the tax deed buyer. So the tax deed buyer can deed them the property, and then they'll drop their lawsuit. The tax deed buyer also is in the process, or was in the process, of suing for quiet title as well. So it was like two lawsuits going back and forth. So in the end, I don't know how much the tax deed buyer paid to defend themselves in the lawsuit, but they're getting more than what they paid for their property. I don't know how much the attorney is charging them, but they paid $196 for the property, and they're actually getting $252,000 from the homeowner so that they can get their property back in the auction. So let that be a tip, and a most important one: if you are an investor, make sure that you use your actual mailing address for the property so that it shows up in the public records. Worst case scenario, you forget to pay the taxes, the county will be able to notify you that the taxes are delinquent. Otherwise, the notices go to the property, and being that this was a vacation rental, nobody is home. Certainly nobody on vacation is going to try to reach out to the owner to let them know. Actually, no, they weren't even doing Airbnb, so no one would be at the property. They only came, like, according to the article, they would come like once a year or once every 2 years to do vacation. So luckily for them, they were able to get the funds together to buy the property back. So this is the family and one of their old trips here to Disney, but they were able to get the property back. And this article is actually in the Orlando Sentinel. And yeah, one of the things that they said was they're even in LinkedIn, but the county is like, listen, we are not private investigators. They can do, a good faith attempt to find the person, but they're not going to jump over hoops and bend over backwards to do it. But anyway, this was the person, this was the certificate holder here. So the whole point of the auction is to pay off the actual certificate holder. So this was a very interesting, good article here about what happens. And even though they tried to sue, in the end, the best thing to do was to just strike a deal and try to buy the property back, because the taxes are a first position lien. Anyway, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also follow and like my Facebook and Instagram page. This is Sandra Edmond, Queen of Tax Deeds. Happy investing.